welcome back to the BS Machine. This is an episode that really came about really randomly, and I have got my amazing mother on the BS Machine. Her name is Susan. Hello, Susan. How you going?
Hello, very good. How are you?
And the reason I wanted to get my mum on is because she has had a really integral part of my spiritual journey. And I remember that before I even got into yoga and mindfulness and meditation and all that type of stuff, I remember I was like 18 or 19, and mum said to me, Tommy, I know you're upset and you're feeling lost. Do you want me to give you a healing? And I'm like, Mum, what the fuck is a healing? And she said, all right, so you get on the bed and I just hover my hands around you and then you just lie there. I'm like, nah, I'm good. That stuff's, nothing. And so every time I speak to my amazing mum, she's she's done so much work on herself, and she's done so much work and study. I mean, this woman literally sits at home and studies behavior and studies spirituality and studies the ether and all the different dimensions. And the last time I hung out with mum, I really saw that she is so fucking wise and so enthralled in this whole world that a lot of us don't even understand and what it is. So that's why I wanted to get mum on, because I believe that she's an epic healer. Every friend of mine that's ever been to see mum for a healing, they've all gone, that was intense. That was like, wow. And I had all these visions and this and that and the other. So I wanted to get mum on and just have a chat to her and really get the realness of what she's learnt over the last, sort of 20 years and 30 years of studying this incredible world of the unknown and the unseen. So welcome my beautiful mother, Suzanne. Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
Very good, thank you.
That's good, Mum. So, Mum, can you, um, well, first off, even before we start getting into it, you were very apprehensive about coming on this podcast,
Yes,
and I'd
yes.
love to know why. Why are you apprehensive?
I was apprehensive because I thought that I, you know, I thought that I don't know so many things, and I wanted to make sure that whatever I say um, is understandable by everyone, and after we agreed that okay, do this, I was thinking about your podcast, your bullshit machine, and I thought that this is such an amazing thing because we all have our own bullshit, and we will have our own bullshit until we die, and our job, whatever it means, is to, in my opinion, to dig deeper and deeper and understand ourselves so we can be a better human being um, for ourselves and for everyone else.
Mm.
And I was apprehensive because I thought that I won't be able to um, deliver this. But then I thought that, oh, it's just my own bullshit.
Yeah, because you called me at like 5 to
Yes,
7 this
yes,
morning.
yes.
I was just waking up and I'm like, now why the fuck is mum calling me at 7 a.m.? I'm going, hello. And mum goes, Tommy, I'm not coming on the podcast. I'm not doing it. And I said, Mum, do you know what? It's going to be fine. We'll just have a chat, just like we usually do, except it's in English, not Hungarian. And let's just see where it goes. But and so give us an understanding of what got you into this type of world. Like, why did you start to look into I guess spirituality or healing techniques and meditation and things like that? What made you look into that? And how long ago was that?
Look, I don't even remember when I did start. There was a time in my life when when I really needed more understanding about who I was, and because I am quite sensitive to otherworldly things, I understood that maybe this is the way for me to understand more about myself. And so it is very interesting. No, it's not interesting, but you know that saying which says that when you are ready, your teacher always arrives. um, it did, you know. So first I did creative arts therapy, and that was something which really resonated with me. And then I did some short courses in Reiki, uh, but then, and you know, this thing just evolves as you are more ready for stuff, more teachers are coming, more books are coming, and as they do, uh, you understand more about yourself. And basically, I got into healing. Firstly, because I had a great teacher who helped me to understand that healing is not about um, healing is not about holding the hands and telling the healee what to do and how to. So it's not how to say that. Not it is about holding their space so they themselves can connect to themselves and see what needs to be done. um, and yeah, so healing, first of all, helped me to understand myself better, because every time when you meet someone who needs a healing, they have very, very similar problems to mine, you know, because our problems are universal. So in one way or another, we are human beings.
Mm,
So we have the same sort of problem.
mm.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, so that's if
That's
it's
yeah. Yeah. And
yeah.
what's it like? Because you are and I got part of this, I think, from you, mum, where this sensitivity. Like, I feel like I'm really sensitive, but you are a very sensitive person. Like, you feel everything. And I think there's so many people out there that have this high level of sensitivity where
Mm,
they
mm.
feel everything. It's like, oh shit. And so what's it like being such a deeply sensitive person? How do you cope?
There are times when it's very hard.
Mm,
There are times when it's very hard. Um, And again, I think it's very important that I understand that, okay, it's hard, but now I have I won't call them weapons, I would call them tools, which I can reach for and say, okay, I'm not standing like this and completely vulnerable and, not, I don't know what to do. I have a tool and I can reach for that tool and I can use it.
Yeah. And what are the tools that you have
Um,
that you
One of
use?
the main tools which I'm reaching for when I remember. And that tool is that I can do that. I'm strong. I am who I am. And when I understand this, I don't have to go for a healing for to get stronger, because I can find that within myself, that strength, Um, but most of the time, it's still bullshit. you know, it's still, oh my God, I don't know what to do. But I started to, and that's the interesting thing about learning, that, okay, you have the teacher who came to you because you are ready for it. There is a book which you can read because you are ready for it. And that's just the first step. The second step is that, okay, you read the book, you have the teacher, you have the healing, and then it gives you some sort of understanding about yourself. But then you need to use the tools, you need to use what you understand about yourself and use the tools, So it's like learning, understanding, believing. I think to believe in yourself and in the tools which you are using is very, very important, because if you don't believe, you can't use the tool because you don't believe in the tool either.
Yeah. What,
Mm.
and so are you saying that if you're using tools like, like let's say going to a healer or meditation or yoga or these, if you're using these tools
Mhm.
to try and fix something or something outside of you, that you're going to use that to feel better inside? Are you
Yes.
saying that that's not the right thing to do? Is it you have to have the right intention to use, like, is that what you're saying, to use these healers or to use meditation and books and all that type of stuff as
That's the start. That's the
hmm
start. That I use these things because, but they are outside of myself. They need to become myself, and then when they are me, I can start using myself to do whatever I need to do in a certain situation. So instead of say, for example, I'm beyond I am crushed to the floor. I'm extremely upset. I am scared shitless, oh God, I have to go to a healer to, to, to help me. Instead of that, I would say, oh, I have something within me which I can,
yeah
and then I reach for that in a very, very quiet moment. And that's where your meditation, or my meditation, if it doesn't matter. that's where the moment comes in.
Mm.
And I think when I can be in that particular moment, then no thoughts are around, just just that, that's when I can reach for the tool which is within.
Mm. Yeah.
And then that tool, I don't even know what it does, but it definitely helps me to center myself and understand that it is just a story, just a bloody story,
It is, yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
and that's one of the things that I love talking about and study more of is
Mm,
that the stories that
mm,
we all create around, just around life, like relationships or friendships or even, mother and son
yeah,
dynamics. There's always bloody stories going on, and so it's being able to go behind those stories and um, find your center
mm,
behind those stories. Yeah, and
yeah,
so
yeah.
so when you're talking about um, you know because it's interesting. So when is it right to go to a healer or to go and seek outside advice? Are you saying that you should never do it,
No,
or no?
no,
So
no,
when is
no.
it time? Like
Um,
what?
what I'm saying is that that's the first step, to go to a healer because I'm not sure,
Mm,
to get a book because I'm not sure. And you always will find the right healer, the right book, the right yoga teacher, the right everything when you open yourself to it and you are ready for it.
mm,
It's and then that's the start, but you can't, you can always go for healings. And you can benefit from the healings until you understand that the real healer is within you.
mm, mm. And maybe it's the healer, like someone like yourself, that would show you that
Yeah,
you are the the real, you are the real healer within.
yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And because what you do, and obviously I'm your son, so I know everything about you, but what I
Mm,
find really intriguing and so incredibly powerful with
mm,
you, Mum, is that you've got this really strong meditation practice where, I mean, how, I mean, just, I know it doesn't matter, but you would literally meditate for hours on end. Is that, I mean, give us a lowdown of your meditation practice.
Ah, okay, so it's a practice, what I do because I love doing it. It's not a practice which is a chore,
Mm.
you know, and part of it is a routine which I developed. That I wake up in the morning, I have the coffee, I have to have my
Yeah.
and and then I just sit down and see what evolves. I feel the energy, how it moves within my body, and it feels amazingly good. And sometimes, and because it feels so good, I'm sitting there every day because it feels good. And then sometimes I write down things because they need to be written down. And sometimes I just get on with my day,
Mm. Mm.
and and it's really sometimes all the meditation which I've done in the morning just goes out the window and
Mm.
nothing. But sometimes it reminds me in situations, oh yeah, that I have to do something like that, you
Mm.
know. But the meditation, but the thoughts after the meditation, uh, arised or rised, during the day, it says to me, "Oh, you remember I have to do this," you know? So meditations for me are extremely important for living, to live my life. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And what are you because you know you've really come to this place, and that's why I wanted to, one of the reasons I wanted to get you on, and you might agree with this or not agree with this, but um is that what I see in you at the moment, it's like, because obviously I've known you my whole entire life. You've brought me up, you've taught me pretty much the good parts of me all come from you. and and so I've seen you land in this place now where you're almost becoming, you're actually becoming an evolved human being, you know, where you live more, you deem the internal and what happens inside and those dimensions on
Mm,
the inner
mm,
more real than what's going on in the outside world. And so in the world right now, there is so much craziness going on. Everyone's rushing and, oh my God, I need that, and looking for things and whatever else. But as the world's done that, you've gone the other way. You know, you've gone totally into your own little, not shell, but you've gone onto the, you've gone inward.
mm,
And as you've gone inward, I'm seeing in you that all this wisdom
mm,
is has come in for you, and this this essence has come in for you where you're you're stepping into that place where you're not just a healer anymore. You're here to teach the world your
mm.
knowledge and what you've learned. So what, you know, what are the things that, what are the things that have got you to that place? And now that you're there where you know so much, it also seems to me like you're pissed off at how fucked up the world is, and you're just like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is where it is.
Mm,
You know,
mm.
so what are you learning about that evolved way of being? Like, what's the essence of that for you?
Oh, look, I don't think so. What you've said.
Well,
I'm
I
still
do.
dealing daily bullshit with
Of
daily
course.
bullshit.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't matter how evolved you are, you're still going to deal with daily bullshit. I'm sure the Dalai Lama and the Buddha and Eckhart Tolle, then they deal with their bullshit too daily.
yeah. Um, what I think is, what I think is that there is a certain movement, you know, uh, the yin and the yang, the good and the bad, um, in each of us, and I think, I think that we need we need to look. We live in a very stuffed up world at the moment. Uh, I think for different reasons, Uh, don't start me on that. But what I feel is that when I can counterbalance it with my own quietness, I sort of feel that with this kind of quietness and this kind of understanding, I can, not I, but something radiates out, you know, to people who want to, or even it doesn't even have to be person to person. It just comes out because it has to.
Mm.
The the quietness, the other side, you know. So I just have to show you the red mosaic which I've done. It's the, I think you've seen it.
Yeah, put it up. But so if you're watching on YouTube, then Mum's holding up this mosaic that she's developed. Wow, that is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Um,
called Where Life Lives.
where life lives, yeah. And if you're listening on the podcast app or whatever, you obviously didn't see that, but maybe I'll post a photo of it or something like that on Instagram. But yeah, I mean, mosaic is something that you're an artist. I mean, so your mosaic is unbelievable, Mum. Like it is, it's beautiful. But I think with you, oh, sorry, that's what I was going to say. Is that
Yeah.
before you were talking about that quietness?
Mm.
How do people get there? What is it? I mean, you were talking about all these tools and this and that, but for someone that is listening to this and they're sitting there, okay, they're probably listening to you going, wow, this woman has this essence and this quietness, but it's like, fuck her, I don't have that. So so it's like, how do I get that quietness?
uh, I can't answer you that.
But
I
you
really
can.
can't, because it's for each of us, you know.
I
So
understand. I understand,
mm,
Mum. But
how do you get it? You get
how
it
do you?
through,
Because yeah, how?
I get it through my meditation, through my understanding. It's
Mm,
a bloody long journey
yeah.
to get there. You can get it through healing.
Mm,
You know, I have clients who get it through healing.
yeah.
They own quiet moment, they own understanding.
Mm, mm,
You can get it through reading. When you read something and you have this aha moment when you think, yes, I agree with that. That's it for
mm,
me,
mm,
you know, and then from there so it is a long process to get to this place where I am.
mm.
You know exactly how long it is. It took me ages,
Ages. Well,
and
you're.
it's still going on until I die.
Mm.
Um, and
But you've made it a priority.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah, because that kind of person I am.
mm,
There are other people for whom this is not important.
mm,
You know, they for them it's much more important to meet, to belong, to meet someone. And you can have amazing enlightened moments by meeting with someone, you know, by have a connection with
mm,
someone.
mm,
It can be magical.
mm,
And I don't talk about love. I just talk about friendship.
mm,
You know, uh, for example, I have wonderful magical moments when I'm talking with you. You know,
mm,
it's and sometimes not.
mm,
You know, it's everybody has it differently. Uh, but we just have to know that we have it all within us, and we need to, if we want to meet that moment, you know, we just need to dig uh, at that moment and find it if we want to.
mm, mm. And just on that, it's sound because I really like statements like that
Mm.
where we all have it within us,
Mhm.
even though it's so true, but it sounds so spiritual, you know.
I know.
And so people say that, but a lot of people that I've heard say that there's actually it's just empty words. They said
Mm,
it because they read it somewhere or whatever.
mm,
But
mm,
with you, when you say it's all within us,
Mm.
there's an essence of truth behind it, which means to me that you've actually experienced that properly
Uh,
yourself. So
you know,
what?
I think it's very important to listen to your body. I listen to my body. I know that when I have this essence, it is here. It's in my heart
Mm,
chakra. For some people, it's somewhere else, you know.
mm,
So, because I think that my body is an essential part of who I am, you know, it is built up from the same energy um, as the other parts of my thoughts or whatever. Um, I know that when I feel that connection within my body, then the connection is genuine. You know, yeah.
mm.
Listen to your bloody body.
Listen to your body. Mm, yeah, and then with what you do, you've been a healer for whatever 20 years or something. I can't remember how long, but you've been that's that's a big part of what you do, where you healer, people come to you and they I don't know, experience a healing process.
Mm.
And just my own experience, even you're my flesh and blood, and you're my mum. When I had a healing with you, it's it's a whole other experience, because you lie onto your healing bed, and then within a matter of minutes, I'm off in some other world. I've got these visions, and my body's like twitching, and you're just basically there, and you're not even touching my body. You're just sort of holding space and moving, and my mind's I've got colors and this. I'm like, and I've been to so many healers, so I don't know how. What is it that you do when you're in that healing room behind you, behind that painting? Um, what happens? Like, what do you actually do?
I hold the space.
Mm,
I hold the space and I sit there and hold the space. And sometimes I have kind of understandings of what happens in the healing, in that person who lies on the bed.
mm,
And then I ask questions. And most of the time, the questions are relevant.
mm. You ask questions from the person on the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And the questions, what I ask is relevant for the person.
Mm,
Um, or it again depends on the situation. Each person is different, each session is different, each healing is different. Um, and I, and then if it is important for the person, then we have a conversation about it. But I definitely feel that I had some sessions when I knew exactly that the person doesn't trust me, and because of that, she doesn't open.
mm,
So in a healing session, um, and maybe the second or the third time she starts to open, and then we can do the work.
mm,
Um, in a healing session, as with every practitioner, uh, there needs to be a trust.
mm,
If there is no trust, I can't do my work.
mm, mm,
And at the end, whatever had happened in the session, I always like to ask the person, so what are you taking home?
mm,
Because in a minute, when she grabs at something what she understood in that session, she can, and because I asked that question, it it sort of materializes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It becomes, the essence comes in for that session, and she can take that essence home. And I think it's better to take that essence home, because then she can work with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So cool. Well, guys, if you're listening and you're in Melbourne, you have to get in with my mother into a healing, because it is a whole different experience. I mean, I've been to God knows how many healers, but I mean, it's not even me. Like, Mum, you've done a healing on, past girlfriends. You've done healings on my best friends, and you know, every single person that comes to see you, they always come out going, "Wow, that was intense." So yeah, and it is and it's funny because you're so gentle, but your healings are very intense, and so yeah, whatever you do there is unbelievable. But one of the last things I want to ask you, Mum, is that where where you are now in life. What would you say? Because I feel like when we meet, you're you're really getting there are these things that are really landing for you, and you're really starting to understand the wait 2 seconds. You're really starting to understand your own power and your own concepts. So what are the key things for you that you are really learning about life, about the dimensions, about whatever it is, but what are the things that have really landed for you in most recent times?
Hmm. Hmm. Um, I think two things, and I think we talked about it whenever we did talk about it. One is the word responsibility, and the other word is perfection. I start with the last one. Perfection doesn't exist. We just strive for it. Perfection is something which I understand is that it's very steady. And we, as we live, we do this seesaw things in between yin and yang, good and bad, blah, blah, blah. So we are always moving towards perfection. And when we think we got the perfection, then we are still moving um, towards something else, towards something else, towards something else. So there is no perfection. The other thing is responsibility. I always had problem with this word. I think it's culturally very heavily loaded. You have to be responsible. You know, uh, I don't like that in that uh, um, in that in this connotation. What I like is that responsibility means you are answering to yourself, and the tools that are now becoming your tools. You use it from yourself, from my heart, whatever. um, and so when you are responsible to yourself, you can use your own tools for yourself. It doesn't mean to be a selfish thing. It means that when you can be responsible to answer for yourself, you can answer for everything around you, because you are responsible for yourself. You know what I mean? Yes.
Yeah,
So these two things maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
And just lastly, what about? I love what you just talked about, and also what about what have you? What's your? How would you? How would you explain humanity at the moment and what's going on? And more of an individual, not for you. I'm talking about
Mm.
how would you individually. How do you individually see humanity at the moment?
I think we are good.
Mm,
Despite all the bullshit which goes around, and I think bullshit is something where we completely lost ourselves somewhere, and we are not connected to ourselves, and that's when everything which is, in my opinion, doesn't serve us as humans happens.
mm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but basically, we are good,
Mm,
and we have every chance, to make this happen. And it again starts with tiny things, like you read a book, you understand that um, you go to a healer or you whatever, and you resonate with something because um, easy. You pick up the banana, and instead of throwing the skin of the banana in the rubbish bin, you throw it in the compost bin. That's how it starts,
mm,
because you resonate with that feeling that I need to do something for nature, for the earth which I'm part of.
mm,
Um, or I don't know, if you see someone upset and anxious and crazy, and you know that the only way to calm them down is to be in your own space, and then they understand that, oh, maybe I did something which is not good for myself. Maybe just I on a real, you know, uh, simple, very tiny, simple things.
mm,
Yeah,
mm.
yeah.
That's beautiful, Mum. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was so good to have you on, Mum. And you are like I've learnt so much from you, and I feel like I'm the further we get through our experience of each other and our relationship, I feel like I'm it's sort of changing. You're becoming almost like a little mentor to me and how you are. So
Mm.
I'm so appreciative to the world that you're my mum. I love you dearly. and and yeah, it was so good to have you on the podcast. And guys, look, with mum, I mean, mum, are you taking on new clients, or have you do you actually are you taking on new healing clients or
Yeah, I
anything?
do. I do. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So, yeah, guys, if you want to book in with Mum and you're in Melbourne, she's in Bentley, and I'll put in the comments of how you can get in touch with her and
Mm.
whatnot. But yeah, Mum, the wisest woman that walks the face of the earth. It was an honor to have you on the BS machine, my beautiful
Mm.
mama.
Thank you for having me.
No worries, and I'll see you later for dinner.
Yay!
All right, bye, Mum.
Yeah.